Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the A. Scott Talk, Afuishua, MediaNet TV. In a slight change to the normal programming schedule, we're going to be doing a coronavirus emergency live broadcast. The purpose of tonight's show is really to just put the public's mind at ease. There's a lot of hysteria amongst the British public at the moment. People are, panic buying toilet roll, rushing Iceland and cleaning the shelves of all their frozen pizzas. And it seems like the world's gone mad. So A. Scott Talk, what we want to do tonight is just alleviate your fears, just look at the numbers and see how bad is this pandemic. This morning before I left the house, I checked with the World Health Organization, and although any death, is tragic, to date there's only been 233 deaths in the UK, and that's a population of 7 million. So in relative terms, it's a very low number of people that have died to coronavirus. Joining me in the studio, I have the Unk Doctor and Kels. Do you want to just say hello to the listeners at home?
Yeah, let me go first. Just to correct you, the numbers is actually now 336 from the last time we actually spoke. So time is obviously not allowing, but these deaths are actually occurring. So, but my name is Kel, by the way, and obviously we got Dr. Anksy who's going to say what he has to say.
Master, we bow to the divine or the divinity within you. Dua, Mutef and Unk. Here with you, also known as the Unk Doctor and the Vibe Master. They say that we are London's most informative presenter, social commentator. And yeah, we're here on Afawi Show. A. Scott Talk invited us. Pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you very much, my brother. And that's right, A. Scott Talk. I'm an urban motivational legend. I won the World Motivational Speaker Competition last year, and alongside me, I have got voted the most informative radio presenter for the last 20 years in the studio with me, the Unk Doctor. So between myself, himself, and my guest Kels, we are more than qualified to answer any questions you guys might have and alleviate your fears. So, Unk Doctor, let's start with the numbers. Let's just get straight down to the maths. Give us some numbers. How does the figures look?
Well, when we're talking about the numbers and the figures, I hear my brother here, Kel, said it was up to what, 13,000?
In terms of deaths in the UK, it's 336.
336 people have died in the UK over a period of?
Well, from yesterday and today, we're talking...
No, I mean the 336 over a period of, we're talking a period of what, a week, 2 weeks?
About 2 or 3 weeks.
About 2 or 3 weeks, yeah. That would be about the same as the amount of people who die from cancer. Yeah, because the cancer death rates are pretty high. There's all different forms of cancer. There's not just one form of cancer that unfortunately people suffer from. But when, as you said, looking at the facts and the figures, not looking at any conjuncture in relation to viruses, and I'm talking on a global scale. Last time I looked at the chart, it was 10,000. That was at the weekend.
That's 10,000 deaths worldwide to corona.
To corona, 10,000 deaths worldwide, yeah? Like I said, there's 66 million people in the UK. There are 7.8 or 8 billion people approximately worldwide, all right? So now we're talking 10 to 15,000 now. That's what we're saying, yeah? That's the bracket, because when you're dealing with those figures, most round it up. The wise would, as I say, round it up to the nearest number. All right. So as I said, it was just over 10,000 at the weekend. It's now what, 13, 14,000?
It's actually now over 15,000.
It's now over 15,000. So since the weekend to Monday, they're saying now that there's 15,000 new cases. Yeah. And the first problem that we have with those 15,000 new cases, who done the tests? How were the tests done? Because the original statements we were getting from the government was explaining that it was very difficult to get tests done. People were literally self-diagnosing or being diagnosed over the phone, and that the NHS couldn't handle the volume of calls or tests needed to be taken. You had to be really, really bad to get those tests. So I'm a bit skeptical, just as people may be skeptical with the figures that we come with, I'm a bit skeptical with figures that government come with, because if I look at something like Grenfell, yeah, where the numbers didn't add up, yeah, and there have been other situations where we have found that government numbers haven't stacked up as they have said originally. And as I've explained to people, you cannot go anywhere and say you've got the common cold. You cannot go anywhere you say you've got influenza. You will come job lot under coronavirus because the symptoms are the same, yeah, at this present time. So that's got to be taken on board, yeah. That's a fair point that we think that should be taken on board.
And it's also fair to say, I mean, I resent the fact that the first thing the brother done when he introduced himself was correct me, because my figures came from the World Health Organization, and according to the World Health Organization, we have 233 deaths in the UK, but without splitting hairs whether it's 233 or 300, either figure is minuscule.
No,
in fact, it's so insignificant.
Here we go, Ace.
It's not even worth discussing.
Yeah.
When you look at the numbers.
We'll be generous, and like I said, everyone's dealing with approximations. Let's get this straight.
That's right.
This is why I said round it up to the nearest figure. Yeah. So I've got no problem. You said so it's 15,000.
Globally, they say 15,000.
Even if it's 15,000, I've got no problem with that. That figure.
Yeah. I mean, and
if somebody wants to come to me and say 20,000, I've got no problem with that figure.
Because when we do the maths, and this is what I want to get straight down into. The maths tell a different story.
Yes.
So let's look at the numbers.
Yeah,
so we'll be generous. We'll say 15,000 worldwide.
Yeah.
And we'll be generous, and we'll go with the brothers' figure of how many did you say?
336.
So 336. So we say 350.
No,
we'll give them 350. Yeah, because tomorrow they'll tell us it'll be more than 350.
So we've got 350 deaths in the UK.
Out of 67 million people.
Right.
Yeah.
I rounded off to 70 million, the nearest number, but yeah, 70 million people.
No, we'll be generous to them. We'll give them the figures, whatever they want.
We've got 70 million people, and we've got 300 deaths in the UK, according to Corona. And that's without going into the fact that we know that those people that have died so far, they had other underlying health issues. It wasn't a case of they just got coronavirus and that was the thing that caused them to die.
That's correct. We're going to go there when we touch on the immune system. That's a great point that you've made, my brother.
Being generous with the numbers.
In the favour of those who say, "Oh, this is real pandemic."
Real pandemic.
So we're gracious enough. We're comfortable saying, "Here you go. You can have that."
Right. So 350 deaths in the UK. 15,000 deaths worldwide. Now let's look at the global population.
The global population at this present time, we're going to round up to 8 million. They say 7.8 million. I did it at 7.8 million. Yeah?
Billion.
So I'll leave you, sorry. Start again. The global figures is 8 billion. Yeah? Sorry. And they round it up to 7.8 million. Yeah? This is why I was thinking, 7.8 billion. This is why I was thinking millions, because 1% of 8 billion or 7.8 million, 78 million or 80 million. Yeah. So 8 billion, 1% of that, 8 million, 7.8, 78. Yeah. If we was to look at those percentages, 15,000. Yeah. We're still talking less than 0.00012, less than 0.1%.
Do the maths.
Yeah. So when you actually look at the mathematical statistics, okay, let's talk about the World Health Organization, United Nations, Lancelot, in terms of viruses and deadly viruses, all right? And we'll just deal with the ones that people know, like SARS flu, yeah, 861 cases, 455 deaths, 52%, 0.8% or 53% fatality rate, yeah, Ebola. Yeah, has got a 40.4% fatality rate. All right, SARS flu has got a 39.3%. Do you know the percentage fatality rate of the coronavirus at this here present time? And that's why I says we can be generous with them. The fatality rate is like 3-4%, bro.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
That is the lowest pandemic figure there has ever been since there've been SARS, Ebola. SARS took out more. Ebola, chicken gonorrhea flu, yeah, because this is not the first time we've been through this. So it's very important that people look at the statistics, because as they say, we're going through unprecedented times, which means they're doing something to us which has never been done before. Sorry, can I just finish this?
Yeah.
The problem that I have with them doing what they're doing is we're told that majority rules. They're doing what they're doing off of a minority of people, because most of the people are healthy. The statistics are saying most of the people in the UK right now are healthy. I get why you say you want us to lock down, because you say we need to protect those healthy from the X amount that is
But my thing is, you've made the point very clear. This is the lowest pandemic we have ever witnessed
in human history.
In human history, when we do the maths.
Out of all the pandemics there've ever been.
Why is the mainstream media and all the national newspapers telling me that I can't sit in a room with you unless we're 1 meter apart, and I got to protect my face because I might breathe in your germs?
Because right about now, this virus is also being used to create and deal with social engineering. A long time ago, because we were in a few business groups, and I was trying to show people when the virus started breaking, because I went, like, I did about 3 days intense research, literally, where I just had books, computer around me, medical books, yeah, and just looking at things, because I know when you do research and you join dots, a pattern emerges, or patterns start to emerge, bruv. You hear what I'm saying to you? And you can't help. Sometimes you're not looking for the patterns, but the patterns just, oh, hello, hi, I'm here to show you the bigger picture, okay? And what I saw was that this was going to have a massive impact if it was continuing as it was, like it had in China, because of, I saw the impact that it had on the Chinese community, being that at this present time, China was seen as a superpower. The Chinese are walking around with swagger. They look, what happened with the coronavirus in Wuhan totally took away that swagger. Have you been down to Chinatown lately and seen the trade? That's not happening down there, where nobody don't want to eat food from them, where nobody don't want to purchase goods from them. So what we have to remember is, at this present time, the way the world is moving with globalization, yeah, China is the designated manufacturing hub. So if the manufacturing hub goes on lockdown, then all that made in China stuff that we buy in the 99p store or the pound store, it slows down, yeah, because it can't come out, because everybody's on lockdown, which now in turn is going to have an impact on our economy, because nobody can sell any goods, okay? So I saw from that perception and perspective, I was like, wow, this is going to take out quite a few things if this continues. And I saw that early, how that was going to take place because of the way that China was dealing with it. And you got to bear in mind as well, yeah, China is the template for what is called the New World Order. All right? And the New World Order, they will make you think is a conspiracy theory. Yet, make your phone smart. Yeah? Smartphone, Google, you'll see popes, politicians, have all been talking about the New World Order. All right? And this is the agenda that is unfolding in terms of, with that New World Order, means corporate and state control. And this is what we see being put into effect.
But Vibes Master, there are going to be people out there right now watching this show that is going to say, oh, see, I knew it, there they go, well, I was waiting for it, look, those black guys over there, they're conspiracy theorists.
I often say to people, when you hear the term conspiracy theory, all right, it's a term used to stop critical thinking, yeah? When people hear people such as ourselves start to question the narrative that is placed in front of us by the government and the mainstream media, we're seen as either conspiracy theorists or anarchists or radical or rebel. But one of the ways I've learned is that you ask the knowledge questions. So, who, what, where, how, and why.
Let me ask you a question. I'm no virologist, yeah, I'm no virologist, but I understand that every time I take a breath, I'm breathing in viruses, thousands of viruses and pathogens.
Hundreds of millions, my friend.
Every breath I take.
My brother, every breath we breathe in, We breathe in hundreds of millions of viruses at this present time. Not to mention as well, because of the axis shift, which is leading to what they call climate change or global warming in inverted commas. Yeah, because there's an agenda behind that. But the planet's poles are moving. Anybody who can read a compass,
keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Yeah, we'll explain that for you. So when you're looking at the patterns of weather coming from the sun, coming from space, this is also bringing forth.
Slow it down. Slow it down. Stay on track. So, I believe, as far as I know, we breathe in hundreds of thousands of viruses every time we take a breath. And the immune system, the body's immune system, builds up an immunity to these viruses. And just taking it back a step, we're going to get deep, but let's just slow it down so they can digest it. We've got to give it to them in palatable bite sizes. Because me and you can go like that, but we've got to give it to them in stages.
I think he pretty much...
Hold on, my brother.
Okay.
So, we breathe in viruses, and our body naturally builds up immunity to those viruses.
Yes.
We've highlighted, not through my thinking or your thinking, but through the numbers that have been presented to us by, what we call government sources that we can reference and say, well, these are the official figures, and we've been generous with their figures, that compared this epidemic to previous epidemics, this has been the lowest viral epidemic. We know that. So why is there so much precaution being taken? Why are we in lockdown? Why have we now been told that we're on the verge of martial law? And why are so many laws being passed to give the police powers to detain people that don't comply? I'm a little bit confused, because we've got, on one hand, the lowest epidemic, and then we've got these really extreme measures, and there seems to be an unbalance somewhere.
The major reason behind it is economics. Yeah, in politics they have a saying, yeah, in politics it's about the economics, stupid, and I'm not calling you stupid, my brother, I'm not calling my brother here stupid, but this is the saying, in politics it is about the economics, yeah? It's amazing, when all of the...
economics. Kel, you wanted to say something?
Well, I mean, based on what you're saying when you say economics, you said a key word before, which was agenda. So that needs to be spoken about, because this, obviously, as we know, it started in China, and there is a coronavirus issue happening, but there are other factors that are now on board. And that's now where the keyword agenda comes in. Now, I think you're right in saying economics is cool, but I think the agenda is just saying that we need to kind of break it down. Why would it be that this virus has only taken out 3–4%? There's 96%. It's like, well, it most probably won't even hit that amount. There are people getting cancer and dying from cancer a lot more than that, or lung disease or whatsoever. So what's the agenda here? I know we're going to talk about 5G at some point as well.
Brilliant. But we don't want to dart all over the place. I want to try and keep this brother on one subject and this dissect
well, then I think the agenda...
This is a good point. Well, what is the agenda?
He said the agenda.
Rather than just say New World Order, because I've been hearing that phrase. I'm going to play God's advocate today. I've been hearing the phrase New World Order for the last 40 years of my life. I've read and I've understood and I get it. But it's easy to say, that happened, oh, New World Order. That happened, oh, New World Order. That happened, well, but my brother rightly said, well, what's the agenda? Because I'm still a little bit...
All right.
What's the motivation?
What's the motivation?
Right, if we look at who's giving us the information in regards to calling it a pandemic, giving us the numbers in each country who has passed away and died, or who have recovered. Who's giving us the numbers? The World Health Organization. What organization is the World Health Organization a part of? The United Nations. Who authorized the World Health Organization to be the authority to give the numbers to the media, who now feeds it to the public? Who gave them the authority? Where did they come from to just all of a sudden usurp all other sovereign countries' health system and be the focal point for all health system? And this is where we talk about the agenda and the New World Order, because that is about one government, one health organization, the World Health Organization. That is about one currency. That is about governing the globe, the planet, as China is governed today. See, it makes me laugh when people say that China is a communist country, yeah? Because communism doesn't espouse capitalism. And when you look at the leaders of China, President Xi, the Politburo, they're all billionaires.
You guys got money, man.
Say that again,
They've
Kev?
got money.
They're billionaires, right? Yeah? Communist billionaires.
The second GDP in the world.
Yeah? Where have you ever heard, if you read Lenin, if you read Marx, if you know about the ideology, the political ideology of communism, it's about communal living.
The brother Kels is agreeing with you here. You had a point, Kels.
Well, no, he was saying in terms of the billionaires in China, what would be called communism is really capitalism in terms of the amount of money that these guys are making. In terms of GDP ranking, China is just before, just after the USA.
At this present time.
So are they working together?
So therefore,
is that the agenda?
When you look at capitalism and communism or socialism, all of them work with a central body dictating. With capitalism, the central body dictating is the banks. With communism, the central body dictating is the Politburo or the political body.
You see, now you're breaking it down. It's easier for the layman to understand. You know, you just say, there's a virus, it's China, New World Order. Yeah. People, they, you know, you have to break it down, my brother. Break it down.
So now, when we're explaining what the New World Order is, what it will lead to, is one world government. This is the reason why the United Nations was set up. The question we should ask about the United Nations is who set it up and in whose interest did they set it up for? Because the first League of Nations failed insofar as it was put together to stop another world war after World War I, the League of Nations. But World War II happened, so that was disbanded. After World War II, the United Nations was set up where? In New York City. On whose land? The Rockefellers' land. Oh, you mean the Rockefeller of Rockefeller? Oh, that Rockefeller land. Yes, that Rockefeller land. Who were all the people who decided? They had something what's called, after the Second World War, the Marshall Plan and the Bretton Woods Agreement, where they divvied up Europe. So Russia's spoils of the war was that they were able to control Yugoslavia, or the old Yugoslavia, or Czechoslovakia, or Romania, or what was known as the Eastern Bloc countries, which became communist countries. There you go, that was your spoils, shares of spoil Russia, The United States of America, they were given Germany scientists, and they were now made to become the new superpower in the world in order that they could dictate Western society. That's why we wear baseball caps, because we're following American society. Their music was made to lead, their sports was made to lead, and America was the superpower, being that the United Nations or the world government is in America or in New York City. So when we're taking a look at what happened after the Second World War, with the Bretton Woods Agreement, with the Marshall Plan, where Europe was divvied up and some of the world was divvied up amongst the victors of World War II, Russia, the Allies, America, the United Kingdom, Germany and Italy got the rough end of the deal because they were on the losing side. Japan got the rough end of the deal because they were on the losing side. And all of this was set up, in order to bring about, the United Nations was set up in order to bring about the one world government, or what politicians have coined, what popes have coined. So it's not a conspiracy theory, because like I said, you can make your phone smart. New World Order in politics, New World Order in religion, and a whole host of information will come up. And there's a great book by a man called A. Ralph Epstein called The New World Order, written towards the end of 1980s, at the beginning of 1990. I read it in about 96. And when you look at this book and you see what's unfolding in there, he explained the whole LGBTQ agenda. It's going to be coming about, how this is being brought forth to split up the family. It explains about there'll be no inheritance. It explains to us that the dictates of the New World Order, where this is the key part, and why I say there's an agenda behind it, where at this present time, I explained earlier on, there's 8 billion people on the planet. The powers that be, that run, that select the leaders who we elect, because most leaders of Europe and of the USA, they're selected by a shadow or a hidden government first and put up, and then we say, you vote for this side or this side.
So
let me just finish this. And what you find with those elected or selected leaders, they're following the template that has been set by their puppet masters, who are the old money or aristocracy of Europe, the nobility of Europe. This is old money. The new money, you're Steve Jobs of Apple. The new money, you're Jeff Bezos of Amazon. Your new money, Elon Musk. Your new money, Bill Gates. This is money that has not been handed down through generations. But when you're talking about the Rockefellers, when you're talking about the Rothschild, when you're talking about the Merovingians, when you're talking about the Windsors, yeah, this is money that has been handed down through generations. Does that make sense, my brother?
It certainly does. It certainly does. Kels.
Yeah, it's very, you've gone, like, people watching this are going to be like...
This is a history lesson.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely history. This is where economics will now come in.
Because it plays a major part in what is taking place. And when you're talking about New World Order, it's old world money, that old world aristocracy, yeah, the aristocracy of Holland, the aristocracy of Norway, the aristocracy of Denmark, aristocracy of Sweden, the aristocracy of Germany, the aristocracy of the United Kingdom. They own Shell Oil, they own the Essos, they own the BPs, they own those companies. Those are their companies, yeah? And it is that old money that is looking to reset for a new world order. And the reason why they're looking to reset for a new world order, because at this present time, Europe's birth rate is at its lowest ever rate. You're nodding in the room, right?
Yeah, it's a 1.2 or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
irreversible. They're having less and less children. They're dying out, and they've already worked out the only really way for them to survive is to mix their gene, bro. Yeah, so they get more of that melanin, because the planet, as they say, is getting hotter. Okay, and all of the statistics are showing that there are not enough in Asian culture. They haven't got enough women. Yeah, because especially in China, where they only promote one child, yeah, most wanted boys, yeah, so there's a lack of women there. In the Japanese culture, a lot of their nation has grown old, so there's a shortage of females as well at this present time, all right? Yet in our culture, there's an abundance, thriving of birth. The birth rate is on the...
Especially
we only got a
Muslims.
black man and a black woman, we only got to look at each other and boom, she's 9 months in. You know what I'm saying to you? So they are aware of this. This is why you have people like billionaire Bill Gates, yeah, talking about vaccines, talking about birth control, population control, because there is an agenda, yeah, whereby because old money knows that it's a numbers game. The population they rely on, they're not having children fast enough, they're dying off, their soldiers, if you like, yeah, are not being born fast enough. They wish to reduce the population of everyone else, because in 20 years, we're going to outnumber them. Yeah, we already outnumber, as people of colour, we already outnumber, but we're going to like double, treble outnumber them.
So why China? Why is it Wuhan? Why would it deemed to be the place where coronavirus, and apparently Corona actually is an Italian city anyway?
Well, if you look at what took place in Wuhan, and like I said, we want to stay clear of conspiracy theories, but one of the things you cannot help notice about Wuhan...
And I just want to say, before we go any further, I did say at the start of today's show that today's show is going to be unemotional, and it's going to not be opinionated. We're going to talk based on the tangibles, the facts, and so far, my brother, you've done that. Everything you stated, everything my brother stated, can go and be checked and verified.
Yeah, it's in the public
all
domain,
there, it's all
in the
history,
media.
and it's all documented.
Yeah.
My brother's just hitting you
Definitely.
with the times and the dates and the figures. So far, this show has been a very formal show. You know, it's been a history lesson.
Yeah.
You know, as well as an economic lesson. You know, as well as a lesson on some of
Political.
political. So there's a lot in it. In this hour, I told you, it's Got Talk, a theory show, MediaNet TV. This is the coronavirus special. You're gonna hear no other media platform broadcasting the facts and the figures like this. Take it away, my brother.
All right, so now when we're looking at Wuhan and we look at the outbreak in Italy, yeah, the common denominator, what we see here, Wuhan was one of the first cities that was hooked up with the 5G technology, yeah? what most people don't realise, Italy is the country in Europe that has been hooked up with most of the 5G technology. The next country behind that is Spain, all right, that has been hooked up with the 5G technology, all right? And according to the latest science that is out there, 5G has yet to be passed safe by scientists. And what they were finding out is when they were putting up the infrastructure for 5G, the boxes for 5G, yeah, vegetation or trees and flowers were stopping growing, and birds were falling out the tree and dropping dead. Why was this occurring? Why was this taking place, my brother? Because what they were finding, that the radiation and the rays and the energy that is being emitted out of 5G at this present time, what it's actually doing, it's sucking oxygen out of the cell. When we breathe, that oxygen that we take in, yeah, goes into the cells of our, because our cells take in that oxygen. So our cells in our body work off of that oxygen. And according to many scientists smarter than ourselves, what they're saying about 5G at this present time is that it sucks the oxygen out of cells. So in sucking the oxygen out of cells, after a period of time of constantly being bombarded with these rays, if your immune system, which is the key and defense for you against viruses or against any injuries you may be, even the way your body repairs itself after you break bones, it's all down to your, the speed of that repair is down to your immune system, yeah? And that immune system that we have, which is a new system to Western science, because the immune system only came into play in the 80s with AIDS. They found out, or we were being told about, acquired immune deficiency system. Before then, all we knew about was the respiratory system and the circulatory system. Nobody was talking about the immune system until AIDS came into play, yeah? Even with this coronavirus, and we're talking about the outbreak that took place in China, when China were looking for the antidote, who did they go to, my brother? They went to Cuba. When they went to Cuba and they found that Cuba had not vaccines, yeah, they had drugs that could help alleviate the symptoms of the corona. What were the drugs that they had to alleviate those symptoms? The drug that Cuba was giving to China, which China found worked and cured most of their population, was a drug that boosts the immune system. But it was a pharmaceutical drug that boosts the immune system, whereby we know that nature provides us with all of the necessary herbs that can help us to boost our immune. Things like turmeric, things like elderberry, things like St. John's wort, things like ginger, yeah? These things are medicines that come from Mother Nature's cabinet that help to boost our immune system. So now when we're getting back to Wuhan and the whole 5G thing, and you look at Italy and you look for the 5G, yeah, with Italy. Look for the 5G in Wuhan. And that same system, they've been rolling out on the quiet here in the UK. That's why when we drive around, we're seeing so much roadworks, because there's a lot of development in terms of houses going up. There's a lot of infrastructure in terms of high-speed rail, and also changing the Victorian pipes that have existed since Victorian times, the water pipes, yeah, that were now corroded. That was changing, and while they were changing that, they were putting in 5G, because the first 5G that they put in Durham, in northeast of England, and went public with it, the community came out and started protesting.
That's right. So we've done a lot of brainstorming. We've gone in a lot of different directions. We've covered history. We've covered economics. We've covered politics. We've covered a word I don't really like, but a bit of the conspiracy theory. Yeah, we don't like the word conspiracy theory, because we know a conspiracy theory is a theory that can't be proven.
I tell you why the 5G thing is they're not even calling it a conspiracy theory with Wuhan, because major newspapers have come out. This is what I'm explaining and to you and reported it. And there's been a shock where you're like, oh, this is normal what conspiracy theorists say.
Yeah, but you're right. But once again, playing God's advocate, we've got
Devil's advocate, maybe?
No, we only advocate on behalf of God, I'm afraid.
Okay.
I don't advocate on behalf of
I
the
like
devil.
that one.
Yeah, I'm God's advocate, you know. Dark as Hal was the devil's advocate, you know, and you know, he was a great man in his own right.
It was needed at that time.
It was needed at that time, but now,
Go on.
right, Ace got talk, you know, there's a new sheriff in town, you know, Ace got talk, I'm the warden of the north, protector of the seven realms, yeah, and I'm God's advocate. So,
Yeah.
I want to firstly thank both of you guys for coming in today. It's been a very,
pleasure.
very, you know, this is how we rap, we reason. This is how we do, we reason, and you know, we just let the knowledge just come out and let it flow. We covered a lot of great points, and you know, I've got a lot of love for you because no matter what the topic is, you're a man that will always come with the facts. You know, you come with the knowledge and you just bring it to the table. You don't play with it, you know, no matter what the question may be. And you have put a lot of rationale to a situation that a lot of people are feeling very uneasy about, you know, and you not only have you demonstrated that rationale, but you've time-stamped it. This happened, that happened, that happened, that, and you can actually connect the dots and do the maths. But it still leaves us in one particular situation, which is a question I'd like to ask you. So we got a coronavirus which is going around. At the very start, we made it clear that this is a pandemic which is very minuscule in relation to how the mainstream media are over inflating the scale of the problem. And looking at the reasons why, we could say that it's all economically driven. You know, I know that all wars are economically driven.
There you go, bro. Break it down. There you go. And what did they say?
Yeah.
We're having a war on corona.
Right.
I don't think we're not in a war. They did say that, right? In the media, a war on corona.
Right.
What did you just say?
Right.
War's about what?
Economics. You know, and
let's join those dots.
Right. And if you want to understand the game, you follow the players.
Or follow the money, as we say in journalism. If you want to find what's going on in the story, in journalism, what they tell you? Follow the money, and you soon find out what.
They also say follow the white man. So.
Hey, I didn't want to offend anybody, but it is what it is. You're right.
It's still, I still can't fathom if this is as we say it is, why the UK is on a lockdown. And the fact that it's having such a damage, because I'll be honest with you, this is one thing that it doesn't sit well with me. I've been on this planet for 40 years. That's over 4 decades, and I've seen more than most in that time. I mean, I feel like I've lived, you know, 3 or 4 lives, but never in my lifetime have I seen a situation where every plane is grounded. I mean, you go back 20 years, 9/11. And even we were having terrorist attacks, people getting on planes and blowing them up, and we've never seen planes grounded. And never in my 40 years, we've got 33,000 schools in England, Scotland and Wales, and I've never seen a situation where schools have been closed indefinitely. So, what's going on?
As we explained to you, it's a restructuring of the economic system. Social engineering, people need to look into that and look up social engineering and see what social engineering and how major would be catastrophes or disasters, world wars, are utilized to effect social engineering or a change in society. And we're now going through a tremendous change. I just want to take it here before we finish, my brother. Yeah? As I said, we're supposed to be in a democracy, and in this democracy it's supposed to be majority rule. The majority of us are healthy. The majority of us' immune system can handle whatever the coronavirus, because they're talking about the death numbers are here, the contact numbers are there, but the recovery, it wasn't until nobody's not talking about the recovery, videos started going around, they're not talking about the high rate of recovery as well as the low rate of fatality. If we're supposed to trust the government, why didn't the government come out and say, well, what we've learned so far from Wuhan and from Cuba is that the key to it is to boost your immune system. Nobody was explaining about boosting, and I'm not blowing on my own trumpet, until we did a radio program explaining about boosting your immune system with a brother, a great brother, Ankara Supplements, who does great moringa, yeah, and other supplements. Until we explain that, and this is what I said, this is my background of having worked in a laboratory. You hear what I'm saying to you, my brother? Yeah, so I'm kind of familiar with certain procedures that happen and that take place. And I couldn't work out, I said, well, hold on a second here. If boosting your immune system is helping, why wasn't that the first part of the information? When you gave us all the bad news, government, why didn't you give us that part of the information? Because that will do for now until you find the vaccine from the pharmaceutical company you want us to spend all our money with, yeah? Or take the vaccine with. Move along. The Cubans, yeah, are known as having the best medical system and the best medics in the world. That's who China, a superpower, went to a small Caribbean island, yeah, in order for that small Caribbean island to help the big, massive, you know how big China is compared to Cuba, my brother.
Superpower. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause you there. Okay, we're good, right? Guys, you've been amazing guests to this evening, and there's so much more we can cover in the coronavirus story, and we will be, because right now it's a pandemic and everything's shut down. But guess what? It's got talk. Yeah, we ain't going nowhere. We're gonna keep doing what we do. It's business as usual over here. So join me next week on the Ace Got Talk Afiri show, where we're gonna be giving you a live update on the coronavirus and what's happening, you know, since the last time we spoke, the next 7 days. Gentlemen, before we go, any last words?
Listen, just don't let this isolation thing get you. Keep positive. We're not trying to get you to, you know, be disobedient per se, but we need to wake up to what's going on here. Also, we're looking out for our community as well, which I'm sure Ace will talk more about with regards to people that might have certain needs. At some point, no shops might be open, so we're on the watch.
Vibes.
I'd just like to say to the people, thanks for hearing us. Yeah, I hope we didn't bombard you with too much information. Boost your immune system. Boost your immune system. Boost your immune system. One more time, please. Boost your immune system. This is done through regular flushing of your immune system. This is done through making sure that you are eating the right foods to boost your immune system. This can be done by music you can use to boost your immune system. The right type of frequencies can boost your immune system. Boost your immune system. That's what I'd like to say to everybody. The next thing I'd like to say to everybody, as Kel made clear, I don't want nobody to think that we're here anti-government, anarchists, radical, rebel, etc. We have good reason to be sceptical in relation to government and how government performs and how it acts. And there's nothing wrong with querying and questioning. As things stand now, we're going to have to go through this self-isolation, all right, this self-imprisonment as I call it, all right. But what I do know is this self-isolation and this self-imprisonment does not warrant, yeah, the time span being spoken of, 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks. The country, most people cannot afford not to be working for 9, 10, 11, 12, that's like 3 months, yeah? The bailout package is not enough to cover that.
We're going to pick this up all next week. We're going to be talking about the bailout package. I'm going to invite my brother, Vibes Master, aka the Unk Doctor, back on next week's show, where we will be live streaming. So we want you guys to phone in, we want you to interact on the Facebook Live. We're gonna have a live interactive show. So even all the points we've discussed this week, if you want to put questions to my guests, like I said, until this pandemic calms down, Ace Got Talk, as usual, we're going to be on the front line giving you the latest news. You know, as you know, Ace Got Talk, I'm the poor people's governor, you know, so we're going to be telling you what's really, really good, what's really going on the ground, what's really going on the streets. But join me next time. I want to bring the brother in the studio and we're going to do a live call-in. Last words for today's show: fear and faith cannot coexist together. It's got talk. I'll say it again. Fear and faith cannot coincide together. Make a choice.